sports.
We are Blackboard. We are Sports Zone.
Last week, the Braves got to put a few things in their rear-view mirror: interleague play and the road. The Braves wrapped up their AL slate on Sunday against the Red Sox and tallied a 3-3 road trip. But now it's the longest homestand of the year at Turner Field, 10 games. The first 3 are against Arizona. Then it's 3 against the Eastern leading Washington Nationals. And the homestand wraps up with a 4-game series on the 4th of July holiday against the Cubbies. It's great to be home, and it's time to win some games. The Braves' long 10-game homestand starts now. Summer has arrived in Atlanta, and the denizens of this great city are trying to cool off, and the Braves are hoping to cool off the red-hot Diamondbacks, who invade Turner Field tonight in Game 1 of a 3-game series. All year long, Braves baseball on Sports South is being presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. The right stuff, the low price, every day. The Braves just wrapped up a 3-3 road trip through Boston and New York. Now they start their longest homestand of the season with the Arizona Diamondbacks in town for Game 1. And hi again, friends. Joe Simpson, Chip Carey. Great to be back at Turner Field. An important homestand starts tonight, and it also starts for Jason Hayward with a nice honor accorded him by the National League today.
And well-deserved. Player of the Week in the National League, the first time he's ever won that award. And boy, what a week he had, going 12 for 23, 6 extra base hits, including 3 home runs and 5 RBIs. That's part of the SunTrust solid performance with that kind of effort. And needless to say, when he does it in the spotlight of New York and Boston, it's even better. He did everything right. Legged out a big triple in the series in New York. Then he had a big 2-home-run day at Yankee Stadium, including that pitch that he went out around and yanked into the right field bleachers. Great base running in Boston. Tags up and moves over on a short fly to right field. And then, for good measure, to cap off his Player of the Week numbers, he hits one into the seats above the Green Monster. What a week he had. Jason Hayward, Player of the Week.
He's red hot, but so are the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Braves handled them, winning 3 out of 4 in the desert. But all of a sudden, Joe, the good play by this Arizona ball club has them only 5 games out of first place in the National League West. That's a 3-team race right now.
Well, remember, they were a little short-handed, too, when the Braves caught them. They didn't have Young in center. They only had Upton for 1 or 2 of those games out in Arizona. And Upton's back in the lineup today. They are playing great baseball. Only the Yankees have a better record in June than Arizona, and most of it has to do with their offense. They had 4 candidates for Player of the Week that Jason just won. 3 of them offensive players. Check out the numbers for Aaron Hill, Miguel Montero, and Justin Upton. Outstanding work. The good thing for the Braves, they're not going to have to mess with Mr. Miley, who has been lighting up the National League West.
Speaking of lighting things up, that's what Freddie Freeman did to the National League when we last saw the Arizona Diamondbacks. We'll see if Freddie and the Braves can continue their good work against this Arizona ball club. We'll take a break, come back with more as we get you set for Game 1 of this 3-game set right after this. Between the Braves and the Diamondbacks, Tim Hudson goes for Atlanta. Daniel Hudson will pitch for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Joe, we've mentioned a couple of times how well Atlanta played in mid-April against the Diamondbacks ball club. They won 3 out of 4 games. They'd love to win this series as well.
They pitched well, they hit well, they played good defense, and really had a chance to win all 4 ball games. You look at the numbers and the comparisons, there's really no comparison. 6-2 in terms of runs per game, team average, and team ERA. In the 3 wins, the starters' ERA was 1.21, and they pitched at least 7 innings in all 3 of those wins. They'd certainly like that in the 3 games against the Diamondbacks in this series. One guy who had a stellar series was Freddie Freeman, and for his work, he got Player of the Week for these numbers. He was hitting home runs, he was playing great defense, and for Freddie, left-handed, right-handed didn't really matter much early in the season. He's had his share of injuries since then. Let's hope that now that he's back in stride, he'll have a good series again against Arizona.
Well, it is a beautiful night here in Atlanta. A breeze is blowing very briskly out toward the Arizona bullpen. Let's see if the Braves can finally make some hay at home. They've got to turn around their fortunes here at Turner Field, and we'll get this 10-game homestand started with our first pitch right after this. Martin Prado in their form once again as we look at the Arizona Diamondbacks for the second and final time this year in regular season play. There is the lineup is presented by Kirk Gibson. Paul Goldschmidt's their young first baseman. He's had a dramatic improvement since we last saw Arizona down in the desert in late April.
Tim Hudson's on the mound for the Braves, 36 years old, 6'1", 175 pounds of gristle. Makes his 11th start of the year. And take a look at these numbers. He's lifetime 6-0 against Arizona, and no one on the current Diamondbacks roster has an extra base hit against Tim Hudson, and they've only hit a collective 176 against him. I would say that that is pretty good dominance over one ball club in his career. A 136 career ERA against them, and has not allowed a home run in 59 2/3 total innings. His 4 keys to pitching success tonight. He's been fortunate that he's been pitching on extra rest thanks to days off, so that's good rest for his ankle that helps him get through the ball game. And certainly with the numbers that we've been telling you about, and we'll tell you some more as we go along in terms of individual hitters, he's definitely been a snake charming handler for these guys.
And he'll try to tame Willie Bloomquist, the Arizona shortstop. Gets things started for Kirk Gibson. Bloomquist at 299 for the year. He takes ball one. 88 degrees at first pitch. No homers, 12 RBIs for Bloomquist. Like so many of his Diamondback teammates, he's swinging a very hot bat of late.
One of the things about Tim's last start in New York, it was a win 4-3, and he only went 5 innings, but it took him 109 pitches. He had to work extremely hard to beat the Yanks. Had one 1-2-3 inning and left 7 men stranded in those 5 innings. Hopefully a little easier time of it tonight here at home.
Freddie Gonzalez and the Braves start play today, 3.5 games behind Washington. Atlanta tied with the Mets for second place. Bloomquist remains alive. That's why the last road trip, I think, was so important that the Braves came out of that with a 500 mark. They didn't bury themselves in interleague play. Now they set themselves up for what should be and could be a very productive homestand with Arizona, the Nationals, and then the Cubs. Bloomquist putting up a first inning fight.
We've been talking about their great offense at home during this good stretch where they've climbed back into the National League West race. And while Willie Bloomquist doesn't have a home run, he's hitting a ton with men in scoring position, as is their whole team.
Deep short. Andrelton makes a nice play, and a bullet retires Bloomquist. Good defensive start for the kid shortstop. Here's the rest of the Braves defensive lineup. Prado, Bourne, and the player of the week, National League, Jason Hayward. Chipper's back in at third base. Freddie Freeman at first. Hudson and McCann, the Braves pitcher and catcher. Aaron Hill, with a 6-game hitting streak, has his average up to 291.
Had a game earlier this month against Seattle where he hit for the cycle.
High pop fly behind first. Hayward on a dead sprint. Agla tries to make the play, can't come up cleanly. The ball deflects off his arm, and Aaron Hill has the game's first hit.
No man's land. Ugla had the best angle. Freddie peeled off when Dan called for it. He did certainly have the best opportunity to catch it, but off the heel of the glove.
So Hill's aboard for Justin Upton. Upton at 271 with 7 homers and 33 knocked in. When we saw Justin and the Diamondbacks, this young man was hitting .216 without a homer or an RBI in the season's first 3 weeks. Now 7 homers, 33 knocked in.
Chris Young injured a shoulder. Upton injured a thumb before the Braves got to Phoenix, and they were shorthanded certainly without those 2 guys in there.
Remember, not only was Upton's thumb hurting, they had to drain that thumb, remember?
Yeah, that's right. And not the big joint, but the joint right behind the nail.
Caught the inside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. So in limited playing time out west, Upton was 1 for 6 against the Braves. He's 0 for 3 lifetime against Tim.
During the stretch where they have really been tearing the cover off the ball, a large part of it has come at home. They're 14-7 in June overall, and only the Yankees have a better June mark. But 12 of those games have been at home. They've gone 10-2 there. The road record's not awful. It's 17-18.
But they are a much different offensive club away from Chase Field.
They definitely are. Georgia Lottery hitting the jackpot in June for this ball club. Check it out. These are major league ranks, not just National League. Runs per game average, slugging percentage, and doing it with some damage. Home runs, third in the majors.
But to illustrate the point about the home road splits, this is a club that's averaged over 5 runs a game in their home park. A run and a half less per game on the road for Arizona this year. That's a dramatic shift, and hitting about 40 points lower as well. So if you're going to play him, this is where you want to play him. Even with winning 3 out of 4 out west. A fly ball into shallow left center field. A big swing might have fooled Michael Bourne. And Arizona has 2 bloop hits back to back in the top of the first inning.
It fooled me. He took a big swing, and I thought that was hit toward the gap, and I thought, oh good, Michael's positioned himself perfectly, and had no idea that this was right off the end of the bat. So 2 bloops have him in business.
This is the situation you don't want to face, because here's another hot hitter. Jason Kubel's had an unbelievable June. .299 average, 10 homers, 46 RBIs for the entire season. But half of those RBIs have come this month.
Yeah, with a few days to go.
And he's got plenty of company on this Arizona club, is Jason Kubel.
Most in the National League this month. His teammate Miguel Montero, the catcher, right behind, tied with McCutchen, and Aaron Hill in there too. Good pitch. Like a slider, back foot slider. Cutter, and a good one.
No balls, 2 strikes to Kubel. .60 strikeouts is second on the Arizona club. Tim's ahead of him here. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Tim would take a strikeout, he'd take a ground ball. Something he's very good at. Kubel's one of just a couple of guys that had decent series offensively against Atlanta in Phoenix. He went 4 for 14 with a homer.
There's the strikeout. 81 mile an hour changeup, split finger, something off speed.
I'm thinking it was a split because it was doing some sinking, and that was just a beauty. Look how far out in front he was on that swing. Just a great delivery. No change in his mechanics. Very deceptive.
And now here's Arizona's first baseman, Paul Goldschmidt. He 2 in double digits in homers with 10, 32 RBIs.
He's a big, strong guy. But everybody around their camp's been telling me about his ability at first base and how it's just improving all the time, and he's saving their infielders a lot of throws. He's very athletic and nimble around first base. He's 6'3", 245.
1 ball, 1 strike. Foul past third, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Goldschmidt last year debuted in the big leagues all the way from Double-A. Played in 103 games with Mobile, then came to the Diamondbacks, played 48 games, hit 8 homers, drove in 26 men.
Quite an improvement since we saw him. In fact, from a batting average standpoint, I think he's the most improved in the National League. Wasn't he minor league player of the year for those numbers at Mobile?
I believe so. Check the book. Yeah, USA Today named him their minor league player of the year. And he takes a call, 3rd strike. Arizona got a couple of bloop hits, but Tim Hudson shot him down, and Jason Hayward's coming up for the Braves in a new look lineup in the home half of the 1st. Come the Braves, who begin a stretch of 16 of their next 19 games here at Turner Field. And this is the new look lineup for Freddie Gonzalez. Jason Hayward bumped all the way up to the number 2 spot between Michael Bourne and Martin Prado, who's now hitting 3rd. McCann, Ugla, and Chipper in the middle of this Atlanta offense.
Sorry, Chip. I really like this moving your 3 hottest hitters to the top of the order. We'll see how it plays out tonight against Daniel Hudson, who is 25 years old, 6'3", 225 out of Virginia Beach, Virginia, and Old Dominion University. There are his numbers for the year. Very high ERA because his recent work has not been very good. His 4 keys to pitching success tonight. He has changed his delivery. I'll explain that in a minute because it hasn't been a very successful change, really. And joining the party, well, their offense is on fire, and he is a good hitting pitcher. Won the Silver Slugger Award last year. But he was a guy who had a real good high riding fastball. He was a strikeout guy, strikeout fly ball guy. And he thought, well, I'm pitching a hitter's park in Arizona. I better learn how to get some more ground balls. So he drops his arm angle down. He's a little more 3/4 than he used to be. And all of a sudden, he's not throwing as hard as he used to.
Which begs the question. This man was 16-12 last year.
I know. And a 3.5 ERA pitching in that ballpark. Why change anything? It doesn't really make much sense, especially when there's so few guys who have swing and miss fastballs like he had.
He's humping up here, 93-94 in the 1st inning against Michael Bourne, and has run the count to 3-2.
it might be something that benefits him in the long run.
That ball is shot towards center field. Parra, long run. Won't get it. It's out of here. A home run for Michael Bourne.
It ain't working right now. Big smile on the face of Tim Hudson. Yeah, baby. Got one to work with. That sinker didn't sink. And I mean, that went out a long way.
And the wind's blowing in, man.
Yeah, it is.
So a leadoff homer, and now Hayward shoots one toward right center field. Hayward with a first pitch swing now has an 11-game hitting streak.
Take one more look at the home run. Got the foot down, barrel out front, and the ball jumped. And look where this landed as Chip said, into the wind. It wasn't a wall scraper by any means to straightaway center. Every homer is a career high for him right now.
So Bourne 7th, his second career against Hudson. And Tim Hudson now has a 1-0 lead. A quick strike to Martin Prado. One reason why I'm sure Freddie Gonzalez moved Prado to the 3 spot. He's hitting .349 in his last 38 games. And that's down the third base line, but foul 0-2.
And what you hope he doesn't do is get away from anything that has put his average at .315. Still take the ball to right field. Hit it where it's pitched. Don't all of a sudden think that you've got to start hitting the ball off the wall or out of the ballpark.
That gets away from Montero, but not far enough for Hayward to advance.
Jason upset that he couldn't see the ball get away, and clapped his hands together when he realized that Montero didn't field it cleanly. But Miguel Montero has a really good arm and a quick release, throwing out 44% of base stealers. I don't know if that's leading the league, but it ought to be real close if it's not.
Another fine stop. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Hudson has a good changeup, a real good changeup. His slider is just okay.
There's a good off-speed pitch. Prado is the Braves' first out tonight. 1 down.
There's the changeup and a good one.
Speaking of good, that's one way you could describe Arizona's defense. Fewest errors in the National League and only 2 errors in their last 25 games. And Montero, we talked about him. Here's an interesting stat. He's not in the top 5 vote getters for a starting nod for the All-Star game among catchers in the National League.
I'm not sure how many people really know about him. Anybody that does their homework ought to know a little something about him. Well, it is the best in the major leagues.
He was an All-Star last year.
I'll bet I know why. Bruce Bochy was the manager last year, and the National League West is a place that they're familiar with Miguel Montero, and if he wasn't voted in, I'll bet Bochy picked him, knowing how good he is.
That's a good point. No balls and a strike to Brian McCann. Brian fourth among catchers on the All-Star vote. Still some time to see if you can move Brian to the top of the list. Right now, that's Buster Posey.
Is that Thursday's the last day?
I believe it is. And the All-Star selections will be announced this weekend on Sunday. Old foul into the seats, and the count to McCann. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
That was another changeup, and not as good as the one that struck out Prado. But it served the same purpose in that it got a strike on the board. Jason might have been leaning there.
High fly toward left. And playable for the second out. Kubel with the catch. He's got a good arm. So keep an eye on that man in left. 2 outs for Dan Uggla.
Yeah, he leads the league in assists.
Hopefully tonight's a night where the middle of the order can get hot for the Braves. McCann and Uggla a combined 8 for their last 48 now. Jason Hayward at first. Now with 2 outs. Another good stop.
During this good stretch in recent days that the Diamondbacks have been on, and they've won 4 in a row and 5 out of 6, that's come against Seattle and the Cubs. Before that, they had a series at the Angels in which they outscored the Angels 5-4 over 3 games and lost 2 of them. They beat the Angels 5-0 and then got beat 2-0 and 2-0.
Wow. You give up 4 runs in 3 games and lose 2.
Dan could use some numbers like that to get back on track. He's had a rough month.
And is a former Diamondback farmhand, you might recall. Marlins took him in the Rule 5 draft, and the rest is history. 1 ball, 1 strike. There you see Dan Uggla's career, 11th round pick back in 2001 by the Diamondbacks. 5 years in the minor leagues without even a sniff of big league baseball.
And good numbers.
And a 30-homer man perennially with the fish. That one's fouled off his body.
Just like we saw during the rough stretch and patch for Eric Hinske, I think one of the things that's plaguing Dan right now is he's just trying to start too early. He's not trusting his hands. He's trying to go out around some pitches, commits early.
And he is struck out to end the Braves first, but the inning starts in fine fashion with Michael Bourne into the teeth of a brisk wind. A home run to straightaway center field gives the Braves a 1-run lead heading to the second. And whose pitching performance is everyone talking about on Game Connect tonight? Will it be Tim Hudson of the Braves or Daniel Hudson of the Diamondbacks? Log on to FoxSportsSouth.com for an in-depth look at both these pitchers and share your comments. Get on Game Connect now. Here's Montero. A homer, 9 RBIs in this man's last 5 games played, including 10 hits.
10 for 22.
And that one back up the middle and just past Andrelton Simmons.
It sounded like it hit Tim's glove, but it sure didn't slow it down, and he did it.
He's checking the glove.
Yeah. Montero was 0 for 11 against him. Yeah, I got a piece of his glove. He couldn't knock it down, though. Montero 0 for 11 against the Braves in Phoenix.
That's the third Arizona hit already in the game, and it brings up Ryan Roberts, the third baseman. No balls and a strike. This is Roberts' 4th season with Arizona. Last year, his best year in the big leagues, 19 home runs, 65 RBIs. And a chopper toward third. There's only one play, and Chipper makes it to first. Montero to second with 1 out. Gerardo Parra bats for the first time. He had a very good series against the Braves and one very productive hit, including a grand slam.
Yeah, that's why I said that the Braves actually had a good chance to win all 4, because they lost that game 6-4, with 4 of the 6 runs for the D-backs coming on that one swing. This hot-hitting team has been at their best with runners in scoring position. Last 16 games, they're hitting just under 350 in this situation. They were 0 for 2 in the first inning, thanks to some good pitching by Tim.
That one found a mark. 1 ball, 1 strike. With all the injuries Arizona's suffered through, there's a ripple effect. Parra's playing center field because Chris Young just has not been the same player since he slammed into the fence earlier this season for the Diamondbacks. Young hurt his shoulder on that defensive play. Has come back from the DL, Joe, and has hit 15 for 102.
Yeah, it's just not him. Still not 100%.
Balls and a strike. And now 2-2.
Parra's always a thorn in the side of the Braves. 338 career average. A couple of homers, including that grand slam.
Buzzing toward his hands, and Parra fought it off. Parra's still a young man, 24 years of age. 292 average last season. Stole 15 bags, was caught only 1 time. Won a Gold Glove. Most of his playing time came in left field. Forces a full count.
Had a good pitch with a changeup for a strikeout in the first, and a good pitch with a cutter.
Parra walks, 2 on, 1 out. You do have the Arizona pitcher Daniel Hudson coming up, but this is no ordinary National League hitting pitcher, is he?
No, that's why I was saying join the party. Last year, Silver Slugger Award winner. Hit 277 and drove in 14 runs last year. There his career numbers. 2 for 12 this year. Remember, he missed some time on the disabled list with an impingement in his shoulder.
Ball 1 outside. That's Matt Williams, the Arizona third base coach.
When a guy can hit like this, one of the nice things is you can really cross up a defense when they're expecting the pitcher to put down a bunt. Even when he showed bunt on the first pitch, take it off and let him swing away.
Which is what he was going to do, but the pitch missed high and tight. 2 balls, no strikes. Tim's had a handful of deep counts already in the game. He's up to 35 pitches and has just 1 out in the second.
He walked 5 his last start against the Yankees, trying to pitch out of trouble. Not a whole lot unlike walking Parra, knowing the pitcher was on deck, but as we've said, no ordinary hitting pitcher.
Bunt rolls foul, and the count now 2-2. Hudson doesn't have a sacrifice this year. Let's see if it's still on even with 2 strikes. It was, and he missed it. 3rd strikeout for Tim Hudson, and 2 men are out.
That may explain why he doesn't have a sacrifice this year.
Now the top of the order, and Willie Bloomquist. Again, Joe mentioned this man hitting .390 with runners in scoring position this season. That's the 4th best mark in the league. He has 2 runners aboard with 2 outs in the 2nd. Strike 1.
So far, D-backs 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position and all 3 outs, strikeouts. This guy's really done a great job, though, in the year-long absence of Stephen Drew, who is expected to be here. I think he's here, but we're told will be activated tomorrow and start playing a little bit after he suffered the fractured ankle last year.
High pop fly foul. The Arizona media relations staff said that the plan was for him to play at Mobile another day, but with tropical storm or Hurricane Debbie, whichever it is, churning away in the Gulf, the Panhandle, Alabama, Mississippi getting soaked, so they brought him up to Atlanta. Did a little more rehab work tonight. Kirk Gibson and Alan Trammell will indeed have Drew ready to go tomorrow. Up the middle. Tough play. Simmons charges, throws quickly, and got him by a quarter step. Good defense by Andrelton Simmons, and Tim Hudson pitches out of another mess. This one in the top of the 2nd inning. 1-0. Braves lead it.
The most important thing for him to do is field the ball. If he doesn't come up with this cleanly, a run might score. So he made sure that he was in front of the ball, played the hop, and then started trying to figure out if he could make a throw and get him. Just an excellent play.
I'm sorry, Joe. Did that ball look like it changed directions a little bit?
I don't know if it changed directions, but it certainly was an in-between hop that he had to navigate through. Good play.
Here's Chipper to start the Braves second. Chipper has a hit in each of the last 3 games in which he's played. He's 3 for 12 in that stretch. Just waiting out Daniel Hudson here in this first at bat of the night.
A lot of confidence in his changeup, though. 3-1 change for a strike. And it was a beauty that he threw to Martin for a strikeout in the first.
Opposite field. Kubel on the run. Can't get it. That'll roll to the fence. And Chipper Jones has a leadoff double in the second.
Nice job of going with the pitch, too. If Chipper was halfway expecting Hudson to double up on the changeup, he was ready for it. Kind of an odd swing to have to reach for one and still hit it with that kind of authority, but we've seen Chipper do that for 20 years.
Let's see if Freddie can move him along here with nobody out. Braves first baseman has a .247 batting average. 9 homers, 41 knocked in. Remember, he had that huge series out west against the Diamondbacks. In that set, Freddie went 7 for 15 with a couple of homers. He drove in 9 runs in 4 games, and for that performance earned his first National League Player of the Week award. And he goes opposite field. Chipper can stroll home. It's 2-0 Atlanta. Back-to-back doubles in the second inning.
So now 10 of his 42 RBIs have come against Arizona, huh?
Pretty good.
That wasn't your conventional way to get a guy over. Sinker running away from him, but Freddie with that inside out stroke just painted one down the left field line. He didn't just get him over, he got him in.
So 2-0. Here's Andrelton. And the shortstop takes a strike. And he lines one over first. They're going to wave Freeman around third. Here comes the Upton throw toward the plate. Cut off. Simmons in safely at second. It's 3-0.
I thought they had a play at the plate, to be honest with you. I'm surprised that Goldschmidt cut that ball off. I don't know who was yelling for him to cut it. Because Freddie had to freeze just for a second to make sure this ball went through. Look what that pitch was that Andrelton took the other way. Freddie checked it, then took off. Brian Snitker's waving him. Upton's got an excellent arm. It didn't look like the throw was offline either. I thought they had a legitimate chance.
But the Braves will gladly take it. 3-0 now for Tim Hudson. 3 straight hits. There's no one out. Snap throw back and a heck of a play. to keep that ball on the infield. Bloomquist saved a throwing error by Montero.
Well, as you said, Chip, they've only made 2 errors in their last 25 ball games. And this saved one right here. Parra hustling in there too to back that up. The other thing about Goldschmidt cutting that ball off is that you see the play in front of you in terms of the batter runner. If you think you got a chance to throw him out, okay. Well, he cut it off and still didn't get Simmons.
Tim missed that one. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Braves have been 5 for their last 33 with runners in scoring position, and tonight 2 for 2. That's a little more like it at home. Showing you he can handle the bat a little bit too. Got a pitch to try to hit to the right side, but foul it off.
Whoa. Tim fouled that off, and it's a good thing he did.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. And he's out. I was wondering if they had lost track of the count. Boy, oh boy, is that fortunate. The guy's going to ride right up into his ear. Like he came out of that okay, though.
And that's the first out of the inning. Here's Bourne. Michael takes a strike. Low to the suddenly powerful Michael Bourne.
I'll say. Michael might be asking that same question. It's fun to watch. You just joined us. Here's the home run in the first inning. Leading off the ball game, straightaway center. Couple rows deep. 1 row deep.
Now 2-2. Michael's free agent year couldn't be scripted any better. 97 hits now, 49 runs. 310 at bats. I mean, he is well past the pace of a 200 hit season for the Braves.
97 hits on the year with that home run. Came in second in Major League Baseball in hits, 96.
Back up the middle, and Bloomquist keeps it on the infield, and that might have saved a run. Multi-hit game for Michael Bourne. He's 2 for 2, and the Braves have runners at the corners now with 1 out. And that'll bring up a red-hot Jason Hayward. For more on Jason's run, let's check in for the first time with Tom Hart.
All right, Chip, thanks. A lot of people want to know the difference between this year and last year for Jason. It's not just the numbers, but also his health.
Being healthy is the biggest thing right now. That's what's huge. Knock on wood, been healthy this season. Been able to make adjustments, and then that's the thing about this game. You have to be able to be patient to make adjustments, and that's what I've done so far.
Guys, Chipper Jones has said all along the biggest change in Jason outside of the health has been his mechanics. His swing has been right all season for the most part. Remember, it was all that off-season work that Jason put in right here at Turner Field before they even got to spring training.
Well, you're right, Tom, and I think the fact that he's not trying to pull everything, he's trusting his hands to do some work, going with pitches the other way, even against lefties, and using the whole field's been really key for him. It's not so unusual to see a hitter set up teams like Jason does right now. When you look at this center field shot, he's so far, it looks to be so far from home plate that he's inviting you to pitch him away. Well, that's where he wants it.
That ball's pulled to right, but it's playable for Upton. Simmons at third will tag, and he is going to come home without a throw. A sacrifice fly for Jason Hayward. So his move to the number 2 spot pays an early dividend, and the Braves extend their lead to 4-0. His 36th RBI.
Just really swinging the bat well. That pitch was down and in. Able to drop the barrel on it. At first it set up away, and then they came back in, and really Montero was kind of reaching or setting up a target inside off the plate. The pitch wasn't delivered inside off the plate. It had a lot of the plate, but it was down, and again, you're just able to drop the barrel of the bat down there and golf it.
I surprise you, but Jason Hayward's third on the club in RBIs now.
Doesn't surprise me with the work he's put in lately, and he's doing so many other good things too. We showed some highlights of the road trip in our opening comments with his base running, defense. I liked his comment though. He feels good. He's healthy, and a lot easier to play this game when you have everything working.
Way outside to Martin Prado. 3 balls, no strikes.
It's worth keeping an eye on Hudson because he's got a reputation of kind of having meltdowns. Gets mad at himself. Can let an inning get away.
Might be mad too. He couldn't get a bunt down earlier tonight. And he's already given up 4 runs in this game. This is a man with a .660 earned run average for the Diamondbacks.
His last 3 games, 12 2/3, 23 hits, and 16 runs allowed.
Ground ball right side. That gets past Hill. And again, Atlanta runners first and third as Bourne takes the extra base. That's the 5th hit of the inning for the Braves.
And came after Hudson fell behind in the count. Martin goes the other way. Hill was playing way up the middle. And just couldn't get to this one. We're surprised to see him playing that far up the middle on Martin. So a good opportunity for more.
4 runs on 7 hits. We're in the 2nd inning. activity begins in the Diamondbacks bullpen.
Josh Colmenter, who had been in the rotation. There's something wrong with Hudson.
Charlie Nagy and Kirk Gibson, as well as the Arizona trainer, will head to the center of the diamond.
He looks sick. Dizzy. He's thrown 32 pitches this inning. And he's toast.
Wow.
So let me get this straight. Coming from Phoenix.
Yeah, but this is a wet heat, Joe. By Delta Airlines and by Toyota. Four 0 Braves, who continue to bat in this second inning. That is our Blimpie game summary.
A lot of A's on hats there. That's a good start for Atlanta. Remember, they were swinging the bats pretty well in Boston. Scored 4 runs in 2 games there and took losses those last 2 games at Fenway Park. But the offense clicking tonight. And we'll show you how. First inning, first batter, first run. Michael Bourne, his 7th homer already of the year. To dead center field. And here in the second inning, the Braves have put 5 hits together. A double by Chipper, a double followed by Freeman. Nice piece of hitting by Simmons to try to get Freeman over. Well, he got him in. Sacrifice fly plated the 3rd run of the inning. And Josh Colmenter, who got banished to the bullpen after a horrible start. He was 0-2 with a 9 ERA. Comes in out of the pen where he's pitched much better.
Seems like the league may have caught up to that really odd over-the-top delivery for a man that used to throw tomahawks, and it's not a joke. That's what he used to do up in Michigan. Now on in relief, trying to get Arizona out of this second inning. He inherits a 2-ball, no-strike count with catcher Brian McCann. We hope nothing's physically wrong with Daniel Hudson.
No. But it was obvious that he got either lightheaded or something. 32 pitch inning.
Two balls and a strike.
have to be some other concerns for Daniel Hudson too, Chip, because this is the second time in his last 4 starts where he didn't get out of the second inning. And one of those other starts, he only pitched 4 innings.
Well, he's too good to be struggling like that, you would think. Again, Hudson won 16 games last year and had a 3.5 ERA for Arizona. He had a winning record this year because they score a ton of runs for him. Tonight, though, he's on the short end, 4-0. That's up the middle and through for a hit from McCann. Bourne scores. It's 5-0 Braves.
I don't know how that hard hit ball missed Bill Welke, the second base umpire. He was trying to do his best ballerina act out there to get out of the way, and somehow did. Doing some severe tippy-toeing, limboing. And McCann is 33rd RBI.
This is the 27th time this season the Braves have scored 5 runs or more in a game. And now Uggla hits.
Well, that's a good sign when they score 5 runs this year. The best winning percentage in baseball, 25-1. We'll see how this one plays out. We got a long way to go. We've been at this over an hour. We're only in the bottom of the second, thanks to some good long innings for the Braves offense. Six hits in the inning.
High pop, shallow right. Upton coming on, still coming, and gets there to retire the side. The Braves score 4 times in the second inning and take a 5-0 lead early here at home. And by AT&T. Beautiful sunset in Atlanta and an even more lovely score for the Braves, who could use some good home cooking for the next 10 days. They're off to a great start, 5-0, as we enjoy our Academy Sports and Outdoor Leaderboard.
This is an awesome Academy leaderboard here. How about this? From the start of the career, Major Leagues, all-time consecutive seasons with a winning record. Pete Alexander of the old Cardinals.
Yep.
With 19 straight. Tim Hudson, if he does it this year and has a winning record, he'll join Cy Young for second place. That's awesome company. That's a winner.
Tim 5-3 so far this year. As incredible as that 14-year run is, how about this number for Tim Hudson? You give him 5 runs or 4 runs or more while he's in the game.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
Yes, it is. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Aaron Hill. You were talking in the booth before the game about even still it's hard to think of the Diamondbacks without Kelly Johnson as their second baseman. And Aaron Hill is down on strikes. 4th strikeout for Tim. Excellent off-speed stuff so far tonight.
Like a good splitter. And with a 5-run lead, he can afford to take a few chances, pitch a little backwards in the count. Not something you want to do. You spot Tim that many runs and then have to figure out a way to come back.
Here's Justin Upton. He singled right off the end of the bat. A big swing. The ball just sort of made its way to center field. Mike Bourne couldn't catch up to it. Upton's first career hit against Tim Hudson.
That was the epitome of a Ric Flair to center.
Whew. Sounded like Rick's in the booth tonight.
Almost.
Outside corner, Upton is called out on strikes.
Painted this corner. 2-seamer. Try to make it come back to the outside corner, and Fox Tracks tells you that Chris Guccione was exactly right. Well, he was right enough.
Four in a row retired by Hudson. Here's Kubel. He struck out swinging his first time. And he unloads deep to right. Jason Hayward will go as far as he can, and Kubel has hit a solo home run. A 2-out blast gives Arizona its first tally of the night. It's now a 5-1 score.
It's only the 3rd home run that Tim's allowed this year. And they've all been to left-handed hitters, and this guy's got some real strong hands. And that was no cheapie out next to the bullpen.
Arizona got that guy as a free agent. He was with Minnesota for many years. In fact, was a Twin for life. And hit 20 home runs or more 3 separate times in the Twin Cities. Should fly by that this year at Chase Field. Goldschmidt rolls to short, and that retires the side. Hudson allows a solo homer with 2 outs, and the Braves bats go back to work. 5-1 is your score at the bottom of the 3rd inning. Home run against Tim Hudson, the first home run he has ever allowed to Arizona in the big leagues. Came off the bat of Jason Kubel. But Tim still leads by 4 runs, and the man that started the Braves second will get things going here in the third. That, of course, is Chipper Jones. Mind facing guys that threw straight over the top like Cole Mentor?
Normally, you pick the ball up over the top pretty early, so you track it out of the hand pretty well. But this guy, I mean, it's almost exaggerated, almost behind his head. And he can make the ball do some funny things with a two-seamer and run it down and away from lefties with that.
Might have done it right there, and Chipper fought it off.
Last year, he really did confuse some hitters in the National League because they weren't used to seeing this. And as you said, Chip, that the more you see somebody, the tougher it is to keep fooling them.
But you're right. I mean, when he takes the ball back behind his head, it's by his left ear.
Yeah.
And that one's by his left leg, up the middle into center field.
And I could see from up here that pitch, it's almost like not a screwball, but a two-seamer that he's trying to turn over a little bit and make it tail away from Chipper. Not enough. Let's see if we can see it from our center field camera. Target's away. And it was moving away, but it was up and allowed Chipper to make an adjustment. I've always said that Chipper, if he weren't batting third, ought to be a leadoff hitter. Done a great job tonight.
Yes, he's a perfect 2 for 2. Here's Freddie Freeman. Freddie doubled the other way. His 42nd RBI. Chased home Chipper Jones with the second Atlanta run.
He's wearing Coleman or out. Wearing the Diamondbacks out. 10 RBIs against them in 4 games and 1 at bat.
10 RBIs on 8 hits.
Seems to be one of those home runs was hit into the swimming pool while Tom Hart was sitting in it.
Upstairs, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Oh, did he have a good swing at that? Freddie didn't have the best of road trips. He only had 211 on the trip. Did have a home run at Yankee Stadium, that big blast out into the Yankee bullpen. Couldn't catch up to that high fastball, but he still had a good swing at it.
Another shot the other way off the bat of Freeman. Chipper around second. He's going to try for third. The throw is going to beat him. Chipper makes the first out at third base. Freeman at second.
That's the 10th assist this year for Kubel. I don't know what it is. I guess people think, well, he's a left fielder. He must not have a very good arm. But look at this throw on the run and a nice handle there at third base by Roberts on an in-between hop. Backhands the hop and still gets the glove down. Nice play on both ends. And way to go, Freddie.
And scored a single. Freeman takes second on the throw to third. And here's Simmons. One on, one out. And Roberts at third.
Now, why would they score that single? Because Chipper got thrown out?
I assume so.
And they thought that Kuba would get over there and throw Freddie out or keep him from going to second? I don't get that one.
I don't either. I put down double immediately, but
yeah,
the board said single. Now 2 outs for Tim Hudson. We had to get out of the way of a high-tide Daniel Hudson fastball. Tim was ruled to have punted that ball foul with 2 strikes. So he's a strikeout victim officially. Upstairs, 1 ball, no strikes. Cole Mentor out of Homer, Michigan.
Kuba with 10 assists. That's 3 more than Hunter Pence, who has 7. And that's the most in the big leagues.
Mentioned the Phillies, by the way. They're winning tonight. Guess who's coming back to play tomorrow?
Chase Utley?
Yep. Ryan Howard may be about 2 weeks away, they say. Right after the break.
I said, don't take your eye off of them.
Cole Mentor walks Tim Hudson. Thank you very much. Now Michael Bourne up for the 3rd time. We're in the 3rd inning, and Michael's already 2 for 2.
Here's the thing. If you're 3 for 3 through 3, that's a good night already. That's a good start to your evening. 2 for 2 through 2 is not bad either.
Braves batted around in the 2nd. They scored 4 times on 6 hits. They have 10 hits already. Montero, nice stop. 1 ball, no strikes. The Braves are 3.5, as I said, behind Washington. The Nationals are in Colorado tonight. The game will get started here in about 10 minutes or so.
Where that Rockies team is scuffling. They've gone to a 4-man rotation now as an experiment to see if that helps their pitching staff at Coors Field, with a 75 pitch limit for each of their 4 starters. I was also told tonight, I don't know if this is accurate or not, but that they've split the pitching coaching duties up too, where one coach is handling starters and one handling the relievers.
Bob Apodaca asked to be reassigned within the organization, so he's out as the big league pitching coach. And you're right, there are 2 pitching coaches, co-pitching coaches now for the Rockies. One of them, I believe, came up from their Colorado Springs affiliate.
Well, you can be a genius. And I think Bob Apodaca is a highly respected pitching coach. You can be a pitching coach genius and not be able to figure out how to get away with stuff at Coors Field.
There's a strike to Michael, 2-1 your count. Well, we saw the Rockies earlier this year, and even then we were wondering how they were going to get through the season with the pitching problems they were having a month and a half ago.
You almost have to have a 15-man pitching staff. And that may not be enough.
Little bloop past third. That'll reach the seats. Bourne 2-2. Colorado 28-44. Already 14 games out of first place. They don't have Troy Tulowitzki. He's hurt. Their pitching staff has imploded.
Guthrie's gone to the bullpen. They went 2-13 in interleague play.
Oof.
That's a shame.
Ground ball to second. And Hill will take care of Michael Bourne. That does it for the Braves in the third inning. We head to the fourth. 5-1. Braves winning game one of this Arizona series.
Turner Field. Let's go back to the last out made in the top half of the third inning. Now check out Brian McCann. Where is he set up? He is set up inside. Where's the pitch? The pitch is out over the middle of the plate. Now watch Andrelton Simmons. We talk about his instincts. He sees the target inside. He takes a big step to his right, anticipating the pitch being delivered there. Well, it wasn't. So now he's got to change directions and make it over to the left, get set to throw. Good play. Can't say enough of good things about this kid already and the way he plays the game.
So Tim Hudson back to work with the bottom part of the order, leading 5-1. Miguel Montero has one of the 4 Arizona hits so far in the game. A base hit by Montero gives him a 2-hit night. Good start for the Diamondbacks in the fourth inning. For more on Andrelton Simmons, let's check in again with Tom Hart.
Yeah, guys, it's not just how much he moves right before the pitch, but even after. I sat with his junior college coach, Kurt Russell, Friday night at Fenway Park. He told me about a play in the Junior College World Series when they were prepared to 10-run rule the defending national champs. The problem, as Andrelton told me, is it was twilight. His left fielder lost a ball in the sky. So who made the catch diving across the warning track in left field to secure the win? The shortstop, Andrelton Simmons.
That's good range.
And that's a good play. Simmons starts a 6-4-3 double play. Ryan Roberts. And 2 are out. So important with a man like Tim Hudson pitching that you have solid defense up the middle, because as we've said and seen, when Tim's right, he's getting the ball on the ground with great frequency.
Well, here's another thing about Andrelton. Even when he gets an in-between hop, there's no panic. There's no fight. There's just soft hands. He lets the ball come to him, in this case, knowing that he's in front of it, to get the double play started.
Here's Parra. He walked his first time up and takes the ball to strike. It's so fun watching a 22-year-old kid play shortstop in the big leagues. And you really root for the ball to be hit to him.
Oh, yeah. What's he going to do next? Watch this play. Now, this ball is a little bit of an in-between hop. Right here, he had to give some ground on it, but real soft hands to let the ball come up into his body with the glove, giving with the ball a little bit. And then a nice feed.
And he's positioned perfectly right at the second base bag, and Hudson breezes through the 4th inning. 3 outs on only 6 pitches, and a 5-1 Atlanta lead. Hayward, Prado, and Brian McCann are coming up. Jason, the reigning player of the week in the National League. Five runs on 10 hits for the Braves, as the youthful duo of Andrelton Simmons and Freddie Freeman have had a very good night so far.
Add on.
You bet.
This Diamondbacks team has been too hot to assume that they're just going to coast to the finish line.
That's in the air to right. Upton in a couple of steps. And that ends Jason's perfect night at the plate. He's 1 for 2 as Colementor retires to start the 4th. Mentioned at the start of the broadcast, this is the longest homestand of the year for the Braves, and maybe their most important homestand, considering that Atlanta came in at 15 and 17 on their home field so far this year. Great chance with Arizona, then Washington, then the Cubs, who are having an awful time of it. And 3 games on the road in Philadelphia right before the All-Star break. Nice chance over the next 2 weeks perhaps for the Braves to put together a really solid run of play and maybe even take the lead back in the Eastern race.
Braves are percentage points ahead of the Mets.
Little snow cone for Roberts, but he hangs on and gets Martin Prado for the second out. The Nationals are here on Friday. It's a crucial Eastern Series matchup. Come cheer on Chipper and McCann. They square off against Bryce Harper and Steven Strasburg. Call 800-745-3000 or visit Braves.com/tickets today.
Strasburg suffered his second loss yesterday. which means he pitch Saturday. That would be his next turn.
Yeah, the matchups are Randall Delgado and Ross Detweiler Friday, Minor and Strasburg Saturday at 4 o'clock, and then Tim Hudson and Gio Gonzalez on Sunday. A bouncing ball to first, and Colementor has a very easy inning. 3 up, 3 down, and we head to the 5th inning. Colementor will lead things off. He's the Arizona relief pitcher. Remember, he came on for Daniel Hudson, who took himself out of the game in the Braves' offensive 2nd inning. Still haven't gotten word as to the nature of Hudson's discomfort, whether it was injury or heat related. As Uggla will handle a ground ball for the first out of the 5th inning. Tim Hudson rolling merrily along, much to the delight of our McDonald's fans of the game.
Well, they're enjoying the fact that since he was given that 5-run lead in his 2 innings since, coming into this one, 17 pitches, 15 strikes. Those are great unis they've got on too. Those guys are brothers, and each one's got a different one.
Just have received word on the issue with Daniel Hudson. Just as he was walking off the mound with Kirk Gibson, he kind of flicked his arm like he was throwing a pitch, as Willie Bloomquist skies one to center. And that might have been the source of the discomfort. It wasn't heat related, Joe, but tightness in the right forearm for Hudson.
Well, that's too bad. I mean, on a warm night, too, for that to happen, that's got to be a little cause for concern. He was on the disabled list for some shoulder impingement back in late April.
Two quick outs for Aaron Hill. He is singled and struck out. The D-backs will get some reinforcements on Thursday. Their top-rated prospect is a kid named Trevor Bauer. He's a pitcher, and he will debut against Atlanta in the series wrap-up.
He was their 1st-round pick just last year out of UCLA.
This stuff is explosive tonight.
Slicing and dicing. He's working both sides of the plate. Good cutter there. Splitter's working. So Looks like a slider. No.
Fly ball left center. Bourne on the run on the track. He's got it. Aaron Hill gave it a ride, but another uneventful inning for Hudson. 8 pitches this time, and he's through 5 with a 5-1 lead. All-Stars will be in Kansas City for the 2012 All-Star Game. The road to the World Series begins on Tuesday, July 10th, 7:30 Eastern and 4:30 Pacific on Fox. And here is the latest vote count for the starters for the National League.
And Dan Uggla still the leader at second base, over 2.5 million votes. Matt Kemp has already said he probably will not be able to play in the All-Star Game.
Pop up by Dan Uggla down the left field line. Kubel in foul ground is there. And 1 pitch, 1 out. Still time to vote for your favorite Brave. Voting stops on Thursday. The final counts will be announced on Sunday. And here's where the Braves stand on the All-Star balloting.
Chipper's third, fourth. So there's still a chance he might be selected with that many votes. Tony La Russa going over everything with a fine-tooth comb to make sure that he makes the right selections for his backup players.
It'd be great to see Chipper Jones in this his last season get one last crack at the All-Star Game. While certainly Tony La Russa will select his club based on merit, he's going to want to win the game. Tony also has, I think, a great deal of understanding of the history of this game and an appreciation for its great players. See if that factors in and helps Chipper Jones make the National League squad.
Well, Chipper has said, I don't want it to be a mercy selection. I want to earn my place if Tony thinks it's worthy.
And Chipper is still a perfect night at the plate. He's doubled, he's singled, and now he's walked with 1 out in the 5th inning. That is the second walk for Cole Mentor. Here's Freeman, 2 for 2.
delivers that changeup from the same arm motion and out of the stretch, I think it's even tougher. Oh, that was a balk. Bucky started to pull his hands up and stop.
It worked out for Freeman. He gets a blue pit to right. And Chipper Jones all the way around to third base. Runners at the corners. And again, one out.
Freddie now 6 for 10 on Josh Palmenter. Pitching him in this at bat, ran that one in on him. And he fights it off for another hit, 3 for 3. Good start to his homestand.
And 10 for 18 against the Diamondbacks.
Wow.
So there's another chance to add on some more runs for the Braves. Andrelton Simmons has an RBI single. He's also scored one of the 5 already tallied tonight. Double play ball. And Hill turns it. Braves have 2 on with 1 out. Can't break through and push across another. Colemanter continues to dazzle in relief. Five at bats tonight. Tim Hudson has been dazzling as Atlanta tries to win its 4th in 5 tries against Arizona tonight. And all season long, Braves baseball on Sports South is being presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. The right stuff, the low price, every day. Everyday Joe Simpson, Tom Hart, Chip Carey with you from Turner Field. And it will be every day for the next 2 weeks. Long homestand, 10 games, then the Phillies, then the All-Star break. Upton to third. That's a fair ball. Long throw for Chipper. And he got his man. Good play. 1 out.
I think that might be a part of Chipper's overall game that maybe we don't give enough credit to or we just take for granted, and that's his arm. He's got a strong arm. And more often than not, very accurate. When he warms up between innings, he's throwing from back where the umpire usually stands just to make sure he's playing a little long catch.
Swing to Kubel, who's homered. A homer for Kubel, his 73rd hit of the season. And a slow roller to second. Tim is getting a lot of outs in early counts over the last 3 innings. Bases clear, 2 away. Back to the Twitterverse. And the question is from Kim Ellis. Do y'all keep your scorebooks from year to year? If so, how many do y'all have at home?
A lot. I do keep them. And I used to have one. Well, we'll have to talk while the Braves are hitting.
It's a 5-pitch inning. Kim, hang on. We will answer all of these scorebook-related questions when we come back. By AT&T Uverse, by Delta Airlines, and by Toyota. Well, this is a fun game to score. Braves up 5-1. We head to the bottom of the 6th inning. It'll start with Tim Hudson. And again, our fan on Twitter, Joe, is asking, how many scorebooks do you have? Have you kept them all throughout your big league broadcasting career?
Well, I used to have one that was real thick that lasted me all year. I had every game in it, and I got tired of toting that around all year long, so I've gone to 2 a year, and the one I carry now is only that thick, and as you can see, it's getting a little threadbare.
Yeah,
but oh, poor thing. So I'll crank up another one about the All-Star break or a little after.
You go to the bullpen.
I do go to the bullpen
around the All-Star break.
Sure do. So over the last 10 years, I would say that's 2 a year, and this is my 26th year of doing this.
Tim Hudson skies one to center, and Gerardo Parra is going to lose it. We see that happen with visiting outfielders in this ballpark. Parra and Upton. And it drops harmlessly behind the Arizona center fielder. And Hudson's at first base.
twilight, and he looks over at Upton like, I got no clue. And then when when Justin's looking at him, he realized, oh, that's all over me somewhere.
That's got to be a real bad feeling.
Horrible.
So Tim Hudson's safely aboard in the Atlanta 6. That's the 12th Braves hit. Michael Bourne has 2 of those 12, including a leadoff homer. 8 separate Braves have at least 1 hit tonight.
Dan Uggla looking for his first.
So Kim, I hope we answered your question about the scorebooks. Both Joe and I, in our early days of broadcasting baseball, got to work with the late great Dave Niehaus in Seattle. Dave, he had the biggest scorebook in the history of the game. I kid you not, his scorebook was made with a real heavy cardboardy type paper, and it was 4 or 5 inches thick, and he lugged that thing around every single day.
That's a nice compact one. You've got a nice small one.
Yeah.
See, I can't write that small though. You've got those real small hands that's able to do that.
Two balls, 2 strikes. And now a full count. Let's take a look at our AT&T Uverse TV trivia question. Michael Bourne with 98 hits through 73 games. And that leads to our question: who was the last Brave with a 200 hit season?
I've got an answer for that. And even if I'm wrong, I'm going to use it. But I'll save it.
Okay. Bourne swings and misses. That is Colementer's first strikeout in relief tonight.
He is walking a serious tightrope. He gave up a hit when he first came in, gave up 2 hits and a walk in the 3rd, no score. Got him in order in the 4th. A hit and a walk in the 5th, no runs. Been working out of the stretch every batter except for the 4th inning.
We showed you his splits as a starting pitcher and a relief pitcher, and those numbers have not lied if you look at his performance tonight. He's been great in this game. Yes, he's bent, but he hasn't broken.
Mike Zagurski, his teammates call him Bronco, loosening up.
Jason a little late. No balls, 2 strikes.
Another good swing.
Braves are beating a hot club tonight. Arizona has won 12 of its last 16 games coming into play tonight. And speaking of hot, Martin Prado, our Delta Airlines on deck batter.
19 multi-hit games out of 38, one every other night, theoretically, and a .398 on base percentage. You're in the top of the order and you're getting on base that often. That's awesome.
Remember a couple of years ago when there was so much hue and cry about Omar Infante making the All-Star team as a super utility player? Might see the same role for that guy for the National League.
I don't know how anybody could argue it.
Back toward us, Hayward still alive. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
One of the best fastballs he's thrown so far. That was 90.
Jason reached for that ball and popped it to the left side. Shortstop Bloomquist makes the play. 2 outs. That's one of the few times in the last 2 weeks that Jason swung at a ball off the plate. And here's Martin, 1 for 3 in the game. Line drive left center. Braves play it station to station. Hudson stops at second. Another multi-hit game for Martin Prado, his 29th of the season.
Charles Nagy checking with the bullpen to see if Zagorski's ready. Nodded yes. Kirk Gibson.
And he will make the call to the burly left-hander out of the Arizona pen. Nice job by Colementor in relief. Daniel Hudson left with injury. And Colementor has given his offense a chance to come back. Braves still lead 5-1. By Academy Sports and Outdoors, by Georgia Power, and by Nissan. 2 on, 2 out for the Braves in their half of the 6th inning. Hudson and Colementor are out of the game for the Arizona pitching staff. And now left-hander Mike Zagorski answers the bell, and it does so for the 18th time this year.
Braves saw a little bit of Zagorski when he was with the Phillies, up and down with them over the course of 3 or 4 years. He also had some elbow trouble, had to have that fixed by Dr. Andrews, called up in late April.
And a called strike to Brian McCann. Brian 1 for 3 in the game with an RBI. caught the inside corner. 1-2 your count.
Sounds like Zagurski's got some fans down below us. He's from Omaha but lives now in Clearwater, Florida. Six feet, 220 pounds.
Foul beyond first. Still 2-2. High fastball. McCann swings through it, and he is down on strikes. No runs, a couple of hits, and we head to the 7th inning. Idea why this man is an unbeaten 6-0 lifetime against the Diamondbacks.
Well, and he really has settled in. Remember in the first inning he ran into a little trouble, gave up a couple of bloop singles, and then pitched out of it with some strikeouts, including Kubel and then Goldschmidt. And since then he has had a lead to work with, and he has been dealing. Only 30 pitches thrown over his last 4 innings, and 25 of those are strikes. That's pretty good.
How has Tim registered his outs tonight? On the ground.
No surprise. 11-2 ground out to strikeout, or to fly outs rather.
And he goes to work in the 7th with the man he hasn't been able to solve yet. Miguel Montero has 2 singles. Both of those singles have led off innings, the 2nd and the 4th. Now he bats in the 7th. Fans around the Southeast have marveled at the topsy-turvy nature of this Braves ball club this year. Win 6 in a row, lose 3 in a row. Win 2, lose 4. It's really been a product, in some ways, of starting pitching. With Tim Hudson's assignment tonight, he has turned in now the 30th quality start this season for the Braves. And a quality start means a .450 ERA or better. by a starting pitcher. He highlighted the starting woes Atlanta has had of late, but so important to be able to get your starter into and beyond the 7th inning once or twice a week. Tim's looking like he's going to do that tonight.
Again, we talked about this in the Braves live show. Worst starters ERA in baseball belongs to the Rockies. That's no surprise. Astros and Cubs in good hitters parks, but the Braves are 4th worst. That is a surprise. And a lot of that has to do with some inconsistency. What'd you tell me before the game? Only the longest stretch of quality starts is 4 so far.
4 in a row. So that's what you live with when you have young starting pitchers, be it Brandon Beachy or Mike Minor or Randall Delgado or Julio Teheran, who started a couple of games.
But the fine line that, you know, Freddie said before the game, he's told the starters, look, you're going to have to start figuring out some things to get out of jams yourself. You're going to have to pitch deeper into ball games at this stage of the season to save the bullpen a little bit. But the fine line is this.
Chipper waits for a friendly hop.
Use Delgado's start Saturday night as an example. Now, he didn't want to go to his bullpen real early, but at the same time, he felt like Freddie feels like, you know what, our offense, we're swinging the bat better. We got a chance to come back in this game. So do I leave him in there and have him try to figure it out and then thereby fall behind farther? Or do I yank him and go to the bullpen early, use up the bullpen, and hope the bullpen can hold him so that our offense can catch up? That's the difficult part of managing and knowing when to pull a guy and when to leave him in there to try to work through some stuff.
Gerardo Parra is the batter. He's walked and he has grounded out. And Tom, you have more on this?
Yeah, exactly, guys. Freddie Gonzalez talked about this with the press today. He said, I've challenged our rotation. We've got a handful of games left before the All-Star break, 13 of them, 2.5 times rotation. I want 6 to 7 innings every time out. And to do that, you have to be able to answer. Specifically against the Red Sox, Braves scored 6 times. The Red Sox answered with a run or more of their own 5 out of those 6 times. That, Freddie Gonzalez said, wasn't cutting it.
Shutdown innings are hugely important. As Parra shoots one the other way with 2 outs. And that's his first hit of the ball game, and that brings up the pitcher's spot for the Diamondbacks. And it looks like Bell's going to bat for Zagurski. I'll tell you about Josh Bell in a moment. But first, the Braves are excited to announce that OAR will be playing a free post-game show at Turner Field Saturday, September 15th, presented by Coca-Cola and Delta. It's a huge concert you won't want to miss. Visit Braves.com/concerts or call 800-745-3000. A ball to Bell.
Switch hitter, left-handed, 8 for 39. He's only hitting $176 for the year, 1 for 8 as a pinch hitter. What Tom said a minute ago was something that really had Freddie's dander up a little bit about those shutdown innings, and when the offense, like Sunday, 4-0, Red Sox got to be 4-3. Andrelton Simmons makes an error. He said that's a time too where the pitcher has got to step up and cover that up.
Bouncing ball right side. Hudson gets another ground ball out.
And it didn't happen. The Red Sox came right back and got 3 runs, all unearned, because the Braves couldn't finish the inning.
But Tim Hudson's doing a good job of finishing off Arizona. He leads 5-0, or 5-1, I should say, at the stretch.
4-1 Braves, bottom of the 7th inning from Turner Field as Atlanta kicks off a 10-game homestand. It was good to see injured starting pitcher Brandon Beachy back in the clubhouse today, 5 days removed from his Tommy John surgery. The good news for Beachy is that the cast that he's been wearing will come off tomorrow. He'll skip to just a simple brace. I asked him who's been helping him get through these tough times, especially guys who've been through it. One of the key names, John Smoltz, gave him a call and let him know exactly what it takes to come back from Tommy John surgery. But when things are going bad, they're going bad, guys. One of the things that made Brandon Beachy have an even worse day, he got stuck in the President's traffic jam on his way to the ballpark.
That'll just about do it, wouldn't it? One of those rolling roadblock things.
Yeah.
Wow. Poor guy's arms in a sling. You only drive one-handed.
Will be at an automatic. No balls and a strike. And now 0-2 for Dan Uggla. New pitcher out there for the Diamondbacks. It's Jonathan Albaladejo.
He's the guy that they wrote that song about. Hey-ho.
Oh.
Hey-ho. I didn't know it till today.
You know, the things you can learn researching a major league game are incredible. That was his work at Reno, the Arizona AAA affiliate, where Brett Butler is the manager.
Joe, you're close. It was actually Abladeo, 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 Abladeo.
Well, I'm not familiar with that one, Tom.
With good reason, we've invoked the no singing rule for this broadcast tonight. Yes. Uggla 1-2 pitch, and that clipped him. A hit batsman starts the Braves 7th inning. 2 more with the Diamondbacks. Braves beating them tonight by a 5-1 score. Here's our Jamison in upcoming schedule.
Cahill and Hansen tomorrow. Cahill 6-5 on the year, and then the major league debut of Trevor Bauer against Jair Jurgens, who will try to repeat his return performance that he put on the Red Sox the other night. It was outstanding.
Indeed, if you have major plans for this series with Arizona, we hope you join us, and I hope a big crowd comes out and gives Jurgens a big greeting, a big hand for a job very well done in his return from the minor leagues. What a lift that man could prove to be, again, for a staff that's looking for more consistent quality starts. And I believe a balk has been called. Yes, indeed. Albaladejo balks Dan Uggla to second base, and Bill Welke tells him why.
He was pointing at his right knee. He said, well, you were set. And the point was, you can do that as long as your hands are moving before you come to a set position. You can kind of, you know, move your leg around like you're trying to get your foot set, but once your glove comes set, you can't move. You can't do all that Elvis knee wiggle.
Now, I think he was saying, I do that all the time. But not with this pitch, which Chipper serves foul. Oh, 2.
giving it all he's got. He's a great big guy, 6'5", 255, and in honor of Wimbledon, he is grunting on every toss.
Chipper drives one deep left. Kubel going back at the fence. Makes the catch. Tagging from second and moving to third is Dan Uggla. Productive out for Chipper, who gave it a ride to left.
Sure did. With a good swing on that. Fastball away, got it up a little bit, gave Chipper a chance to square it up. Not quite enough to get it out, but it got Dan over.
Interesting story about Albert Adejo. Originally a Pirates 19th round pick 11 years ago. The Nationals signed this man as a minor league free agent. He was then traded to the New York Yankees before the 2008 season for Tyler Clippard, who's now the Washington closer. Pretty good deal for the Nationals. Infield in for Freeman, with Uggla at third and one out.
Yeah, advantage Nationals. It's only his second game since he got called up from the Reno Aces. Freddie's had a good approach tonight. It's been profitable. 3 hits, including a double. It's like he's really trying to stay centered over the plate, go the other way. Got jammed on a base hit that he pulled to right field, but that was okay. That gave you a good indication he's trying to not pull off the ball.
That one's golfed over first and into the seats. Chad Durbin getting ready for the 8th inning, perhaps. Only 84 pitches for Tim Hudson, a much easier night's work than his last start.
84 through 7 innings. Brilliant work.
And over a 4-inning stretch tonight, Hudson threw 30 pitches total.
65 strikes out of that evening's work, too.
Ooh, good high. 2-2.
Fox track shows you is a little low.
To short. Bloomquist makes the play. 360 spin and safe. The throw was high. And the Braves pick up a 6th run.
Montero did everything he could, but because it was high, Chip, it pulls him out of his ability to block the plate. Made him shift his weight a little bit, and that allowed Dan to knock his leg out of the way and get in there. So Montero had to reach to his right. Watch this. And take some weight off his left foot. And when he did, Dan takes it right out from under him. Good hard slide.
And now a 6-1 lead for Simmons. And he bloops one over first. That's a cue shot and fair. And he's going to try for 2, and he's going to make it without a throw. A 2-hit game for Simmons, and the Braves have him 2nd and 3rd with 1 out. Ninth multi-hit game for Andrelton Simmons.
This was a thing of beauty. This was a real Ric Flair here. He wasn't even sure where he hit it. He was looking up straight up toward the pitcher, and he went off the end of the bat to right.
So now Hudson a chance to drive in a run.
By the way, Chad Durbin has sat down. That's why Huddy's hitting for himself.
Squeeze, and Hudson bunts it back to the screen.
Tough pitch to handle here. All you're trying to do is bunt it fair anywhere, right back to the pitcher, preferably, because he wouldn't have time to react to get the runner. A good fastball down and away, hard to handle.
With the Braves double up on the squeeze. One ball, 2 strikes. Fly ball center. That'll get a run home. Parra the catch. Freeman tags and scores. Simmons to third. And Tim Hudson is having a little league kind of night.
His 3rd RBI of the year, and he's a guy capable of winning a Silver Slugger award for a pitcher. Add-on runs, awfully nice.
2 of them here in the 7th makes it a 7-1 game. Back to Michael Bourne. Way upstairs, 1-0 your count.
Night for the Braves offense again, and tonight backed up by a solid start from Tim Hudson.
Toward first, and right at the bag, Goldschmidt makes the play and sends this game to inning number 8. Tim Hudson's had a big night. A single, an RBI, and 7 innings of 1-run ball. Trivia question tonight. It's 7-1 Atlanta as we head to the 8th inning. Michael Bourne is on pace for a 200-plus hit season for the Braves. Can you name the last Atlanta player to have a 200-hit season?
Marquise Grissom.
I think you're right. I was going to say Rafael Furcal.
Are you still?
No. Had a baby. Marquise Grissom was that 207?
Uh-huh. One of my all-time favorite players. He did every aspect of the game he did right and did it well. And a great member of the Braves organization and the guy who collected the last out in the World Series in '95.
Tim Hudson continues his great work. He strikes out Willie Bloomquist. One away in the 8th inning. Hope you'll plan a boys' night out with us at Turner Field with the new Braves Buddy Pack. Get as many as 12 tickets to a game, and every ticket comes preloaded with a $15 credit for food and drinks. Visit Braves.com/Buddy today to get your Buddy Pack tickets.
That's cool. I like that.
How about that guy's hat? Did you see that hat?
Uh-uh.
I don't know if Gary Lehman, our director, can find that gentleman with. Look at that hat.
Oh, nice. Not seen one like that in red, white, and blue.
Folks might want to bring a hat to the ballpark the next couple of games. It's supposed to be very, very hot here in Atlanta the next couple of days. Ground ball deep short. Simmons backhanded stab. Long throw. High throw. And Hill with a head first slide is in safely at first. Let's see if he's all right. He hit that bag awfully heavily.
Great try here by Andrelton. This is not. Oh, he hit awkwardly, like on his side and on his hip, and then reached for the bag. He threw up some chalk too. Good call though at first base by Vic Carapasa. But that throw, very, very similar to the way his setup was in Boston when he launched that one in the Red Sox dugout, about how he didn't quite get his shoulders turned.
Here's Upton. And Justin looks at ball one. Crowd tonight 23,513. We have made plans to join us the rest of this homestand. Dress comfortably. It's like we have upper 90s by the end of this series with Arizona.
I heard maybe even 100 degrees by Thursday.
Really?
Yeah. That would be in the daytime, of course, not at game time.
Well, summer has arrived. We got a taste of it in Boston, didn't we?
We did. But I know we're ready for it. We'll be wearing our matching tank tops.
If ever there was a need for soft focus, that would be the day. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I was just looking at Marquise Grissom's numbers from 1996 when he had his 207 hits. 32 doubles, 10 triples, 23 homers, drove in 74 runs. Of course, he led off all season long, too. Quite a year.
Fly ball to right. How many runs for him that year? Knocked in 70-something, hit 23 homers. How many runs with those 200 hits?
106.
So he scored over 100, drove in 70, counted for about 180 runs himself. Yeah, that's amazing. Good year. 2 outs.
In case you're wondering, the all-time high for a Braves player, Hugh Duffy, in 1894 had 236. Drove in 145, scored 160.
That was in the live ball era, Joe.
Wow. Way to go, Hugh.
A strike to Kubel. Good news in Colorado. Rockies have tied the Nationals. That's a 3-3 game. I hope they play a couple more extra inning games out there. Get that Washington staff all tired and worn out before they come to Atlanta this weekend.
They may have to use Steven Strasburg out of the bullpen, you know, by Wednesday, Thursday.
Like the way you think?
Yeah.
Use them up.
He doesn't get cheated, does he?
No, he doesn't. He used a term about Tim Hudson trusting his pitches early in the game. Remember, he had 2 base runners on in the first, 2 in the second. Struck out 2 men in that opening inning. He's had every pitch at his command tonight. Look how late Kubel swung at that pitch.
Well, he can hang his hat on something, and that is the fact that Kubel's the first guy to hit a homer off of Tim while wearing Diamondbacks uniform, first and only.
That covers 9 starts for Tim Hudson against the D-backs. And here it was with 2 outs in the 3rd inning.
And it was popped. It was certainly not a cheapie. Target was outside. The pitch sailed inside. And about 8 or 9 rows up.
To second. And Dan Uggla's got it. Hudson is through 8. With a 7-1 lead. He's pitching brilliantly tonight. Great way to start the homestand at Turner Field.
This 10-game homestand is one that's very important to this ball club.
It's a big series, big homestand for us, in that number one, we've got a couple teams that at least on paper we should do well against, and we've got the number 1 team in our division, you know, the division leader. So it's very important for us to you know, come out and gain ground on first place during these next 10 games.
And so a 7-1 lead tonight should go in that direction. But here's what the Braves have done the last 7-4 tonight. 6 losses and only 2 runs per game with a 170 average with runners in scoring position. All those numbers have turned around nicely this evening to start not just this series, but this long and grinding homestand.
All right, Tom, thank you very much. Good start tonight for the Braves. Jason Hayward a part of it. Hayward, the National League Player of the Week, announced today. Has a single, an RBI, has popped out and flied out. We'll take an 11-game hit streak into Game 2 of the series tomorrow. Trevor Cahill will be the pitching opponent for Arizona. Tommy Hanson will pitch for the Braves.
New pitcher on the mound, Craig Breslow. Lefty's doing a good job for Kirk Gibson. 30 games, he's 2-0 with a 2.81 ERA. Got the second win in the series just completed against the Cubs.
Ground ball through. Jason Hayward with a hit against a lefty.
He extended his hitting streak to 11 games with a single in the first. Sacrifice fly in the second. And now a multi-hit game as he gets a base hit to right field. And he rolls over on that right foot. Not to spin on the heel, which might cause him to open up too soon. That's some flexibility.
Hayward's added about 40 points on his batting average against left-handed pitching this month. On June 7th, Jason was hitting right at 203 against lefties. He's up around 240 or so now with that single against Breslow.
He was hitting 252 at the start of the road trip.
Oh, and 2 the count to Prado. And he serves the ball to the right side. Only one play for Hill. He'll make it to first. Hayward to second. 1 out. And Georgia Power customers can get a free in-home energy audit performed by an energy expert from Georgia Power. Learn how to save money and energy around your home. To schedule an in-home energy audit, go to georgiapower.com.
Braves had 15 hits tonight. 6 different guys with multi-hit efforts. Anthony Varvaro loosening up. Looks like he might come in for the ninth inning.
Who was that popped out of the door?
No, but they knew they were on camera and they wanted to.
Come on, guys, we see you. Who is it? I'm guessing Chris Medlin is in the middle of that. It's only a guess. As McCann takes low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Brian has a hit and an RBI tonight, his 33rd run batted in this season. Two. With their 7 runs tonight, for the last 6 games, the Braves have scored 33 runs. Not coincidentally, that's the time when Freddie Freeman got back into the starting lineup. I believe for the first time in a while, Freddie Gonzalez has been able to put together his lineup 1 through 8 the way he's wanted to.
It's an important fact, Chip, and it's certainly not wasted on a lot of the other guys in the lineup because it deepens the lineup all the way through. While Freddie hadn't gotten off to a rip-roaring start since he came back. How about him batting 7th tonight and having such a good night? What a luxury.
Remember, there was a stretch where the Braves did not have McCann, Chipper Jones, or Freddie Freeman in the middle of the lineup. Contact our way. And taking nothing away from the men that filled those spots in those guys' absence. Look at any major league club. Take those 3 middle of the order hitters out of the lineup, you're going to struggle to score.
Sure are. Anybody, anywhere, any team. Those 3, 4, 5 guys, 3, 5, 6 guys in your order are missing. It's tough to replace them.
Ryan protects the plate. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
He's fouled off some tough pitches. Craig Breslow out of Yale University graduated with degrees in molecular biophysics and biochemistry. He may have to go to the lab and create a pitch here to retire Brian McCann.
Ripped straight back. 2-2. Breslow, the first Yale pitcher to reach the big league since Ron Darling. 1983. This good at bat continues.
Sure is. And that was Breslow's best heater right there at 92. Montero has an idea for him. And you just wonder, they got a pitch to waste here if they want. Against Hayward earlier tonight, Montero gave one of those high targets for a high fastball to see if he would chase. Let's see if they try that. 10th pitch here of the at bat.
Ripped down the right field line. That's in for a hit. Hayward around third is going to score, and Brian McCann is rewarded with a terrific 8th inning at bat.
I'll say.
McCann, the 7th Braves hitter with 2 or more hits tonight.
That looked like it was supposed to be a breaking ball outside, but it pretty much was one of those cement mixers that was just spinning in there. Brian certainly earned that one.
That brings up Dan Uggla. He is the lone Brave without a hit tonight. But he has scored a run. He was hit by a pitch in the 7th. Oh, high and tight.
Well, again, he comes up and it's immediately 0-2. I mean, it just, you can write a book and go to it every time a guy goes into a slump and talk about the times that he has to go up there and hit behind in the count because it's just inevitable.
Two. Chipper wouldn't mind another at bat tonight. He will do so with 2 outs. First strikeout for Breslow. Chipper will take a 4-game hit streak into Game 2 tomorrow. Reached the 10 o'clock hour in Atlanta. Braves enjoying an 8-1 lead. 16 Braves hits, 7 Braves hitters with 2 or more hits. Tim Hudson, 8 innings of 1-run baseball.
Chipper said on the road trip that he hasn't been happy with his right-handed swing. Left-handed he feels real good. Right-handed not so much. Change up. He's liable to shoot it to right field through that big hole, though.
Down and in. 3 balls and a strike.
Not now, though. 3-1. Go for the big enchilada right here.
Liner over second. Bobbled by Upton, but no advance by McCann. Chipper Jones with a 3-hit night.
Wasn't a changeup. It was a fastball, but he put a good swing on it, and it was up. He's gotten a couple pitches up tonight to hit, and he hasn't missed them. That was a laser out over the top of Hill's glove.
And the 17 hits tonight for the Braves matches their season high for a 9-inning game. Braves had 17 hits on April 18th against the Mets. The most hits they've had in any game, which means extra innings, would be 19. They had 19 hits against the Rockies in a ball game that went 11 innings at Coors Field.
Had 11 hits yesterday or Sunday. They only got 4 runs against the Red Sox, but they were in double digits in hits that day. Here's a look at some of the damage by everybody in the lineup. And if you just joined us, Freddie Gonzalez juggling his lineup, moving Hayward to the 2 spot, Prado to 3rd, dropping Freeman down to number 7. And it's really worked out well. Those top 3 guys, 6 hits, a sacrifice fly, 3 runs scored, and a couple of RBIs between them.
Here's your 7th man, Freddie Freeman. He's got 3 hits. And after a meeting on the mound, Montero and Breslow have to meet again. That's low. 1 ball, no strikes. Foul over the Arizona dugout.
The games in Arizona, the Braves offense was clicking too. First game the Braves won 10-2, then they won 9-1, then they won a close one 3-2 before losing the finale 6-4.
Right, game 1 out there, 10 runs, 16 hits. Game 2, 9 runs on 12 hits. Game 3 was 3 runs on 6 hits. Braves won that one. And then the Delgado ball game, that was the Gerardo Parra Grand Slam, 4 runs on 10 hits.
How'd you know that? Your scorebook?
My
You were
scorebook.
able to go back in your scorebook, huh? That little bitty righty.
Swing and a miss. Yeah, little bitty writing, but a really big offensive night for the Braves tonight. 8-1, they lead it, and we head to the 9th inning at Turner Field. Trucks by Jameson Inn, by the Georgia Lottery, and by McDonald's. It's a very welcome home indeed for the Braves tonight at Turner Field. 8-1 is our score. We have 3 outs to get. Well, Tim Hudson was terrific. 8 innings of 1-run baseball, a trend we hope continues tomorrow night for Game 2. Here is our Chevron probable starting pitching matchup.
Trevor Cahill pitched against the Braves in Arizona on April 20th, and he didn't get out of the 6th inning. 5 2/3 innings, 7 hits, 6 runs. He walked 2, struck out 2, gave up a home run to Brian McCann. Tommy Hanson, on the other hand, 8-4 now after his win in New York. Got a lot of runs to work with that day. Hopefully more of the same tomorrow. He's probably sitting over there saying, wish they'd have saved a few.
And Anthony Varvaro will answer the AT&T call to the bullpen with Paul Goldschmidt starting off the 9th.
A scoreless inning. He's been in 3 ball games since he got called up, and he's given up runs in all 3.
And what you don't want to see is a free pass with a 7-run lead in the 9th. Caught a corner. It's 2-2.
94 on that pitch, 93 the one before.
And up the middle, a single for Goldschmidt. He's 1 for 4.
He was just waiting for Anthony to throw his best fastball. That was 95.
That'll bring up Montero. Diamondbacks catcher was 2 for 3 in his stint against Tim Hudson. Off McCann's mask, strike 1. Phillies won tonight. They beat Pittsburgh 5-4. That was at Citizens Bank Ballpark.
they'll be heard from.
Another action in the East still ongoing. The Mets are losing. That's good news. Braves percentage points, as you said, ahead of New York in the East.
Mets have played real well at home. They're 16 and 18 on the road, and lost to the Cubs last night. Anthony is cutting it loose.
There are your standings. What in the world's happened to the Marlins?
I don't know. I really don't know. I know they're giving up way too many runs for their offense to try to cover up. Falling behind early virtually every night as they did tonight.
Cardinals beat Miami 5-2 tonight. Heath Bell blew a save last night. And a 96-mile-an-hour fastball retires Montero. 1 on, 1 out. Here's Roberts. So the Marlins lost. Mets are losing. Phillies won. Washington's winning at Colorado 4-3. Middle innings at Coors Field. Here it's 8-1 Atlanta.
Back real quick, that situation in Colorado with them going to a 4-man rotation and limiting those starters to 75 pitches per start, since they have to have a quick turnaround. You got to give Jim Tracy and his staff credit. Certainly thinking outside the box. I mean, it's not ancient history that teams used a 4-man rotation, but just trying to find something different that might work for their club, especially at home. And I applaud their efforts for at least trying.
I think that's what Dan O'Dowd said in Colorado. As this ball's bounced up the middle, Uggla at the second base bag. Quick flip to first. That is a game-ending double play. Farvero finishes up for Atlanta, and the Braves pound out 17 hits and score 8 runs and beat a red-hot Arizona ball club handily in the first game of our long homestand at Turner Field. The offense got going very early and very often tonight, and that was more than enough for Braves starter Tim Hudson, who picked up the win here in Atlanta. We'll recap it for you from Turner Field after this timeout.